What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man, and yes, I am back at it again, and this is BOFURI. I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. Episode 4, man. Yes, last week was wonderful. It was a nice episode, but it was dialed back, and it was just getting us ready for this week's episode, which takes place as the event inside the game kicks off, and that's what this episode was. It kicks off, and we dove right into it. Let's be real. We dove right into it, and it was freaking epic, man. Now, before I talk about this episode, can we give it up? I want to know who is producing and does production for this anime, because it is absolutely wonderful, man. The animation, the quality of the animation, and the fluidity of everything that's taking place. Because when they fought that silver wing, I think that's what they called it. Anyway, the bird that was in today's episode, the fluid motions of them just running around in that whole little ice dungeon, and Maple constantly moving, and Sally moving at high speeds, and the bird's animation, it was a little CGI-esque, but it was done okay and very well. So like, I didn't mind it being a little CGI, and it looked good with the aesthetic of the ice room. And they didn't make Maple and Sally CGI, they left them the same, so it didn't really conflict with the bird, and they still looked good, and the bird looked good because it wasn't too CGI, just a little bit. So I really enjoyed this episode and everything about the animation quality. Each episode, I constantly say this, each episode is going up, 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 up. Each week, like, oh wow, this episode looks good. It's very, 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 very pretty. Then they top it next week with the next episode they have in store, because it was just absolutely wonderful, man. Now, let's get into the episode, because this episode was a banger. Now, yes, like I said, last week was a setup episode, and this episode, it just dove us right into the event that's taking place. And leading up to the event, and when they found the dungeon and everything, the very first dungeon, all of that was slow. It was just getting us ready. So they dive right into the first dungeon by accident, and they get there, and they come in contact with like this clown jester monster. And that's when matter of fact, someone talked to me last week about last week's episode, and because I made this whole deal about Maple could have used the I figured maybe she could possibly use the super speed, because she moves so slow, she doesn't have much agility. But someone made a very, very wonderful statement to me, is that Maple has cover move, which she showcased a lot in this episode, and I like cover move now. I'm okay with it. So yeah, I'm fine with her not having the super speed and Sally keeping it, because she's more of an attacker. So that's fine with Sally having it. But thank you so much for telling me about Maple's cover move and everything. And with them showcasing it in today's episode, I really understand where you were coming from, and it showed very well about how she can use it to maneuver around, and how she can get to places faster. She has to say it every time, but it's still nice, and allows her to move over periods of places, because she doesn't have much agility. Now, they defeat this monster, the clown jester guy, like it was nothing. Sally was putting in work, Maple was putting in work, they both were going ham, and they defeated the monster like it was nothing. So so that was that. So then they started walking around the world, and the new event, and it was nice setup. So then they come into the mountains. They were walking to the mountains in the snow. This is where the whole episode just shifted. Everything else was like, oh, that's cool, that's nice. They're in this event that's taking place. They defeated this monster, cool. They got two silver coins out of it. Okay, nice, fine, whatever. Then when they got to the mountains and the snow, that's when this whole episode shifted completely. Now, we come in contact with the guy that Maple met at the very beginning in the first episode. That's another great shielder with the red shield and everything. I can't remember his name for nothing. I don't know why. They said his name, but I still can't remember it. But they come in contact with him, and in the moment that they saw him, at that moment they were thinking about player killings. Because player killings taking place, and people trying to take other people's coins, but they haven't had any kind of contact with anything like that at all yet. So they come in contact, and I knew that wasn't going to happen, because like him and Maple were friends, so I knew that he wasn't really going to attack her. But Sally was on guard, like nobody, like she was ready to draw her swords. Like, okay, play with it if you really, really want to. I was going to end you, And Maple was like, no. He's a friend of mine, and he was like, well, you must be Sally. So they hashed it out. They kind of just sorted everything, and then a dungeon appeared to be teleported to a dungeon, and Maple let him take it because of him helping her in the very first episode. And Sally was like, "Well, if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it." And the dude was like, "Well, thank you for letting us do this." So they go into the dungeon, and there was like, they're telling us that, well, once you go into a dungeon, it shuts down, so you can't go there anymore because it's only room for one party. So they go in there, and the moment they go in there, they disappear. The teleport happens. Poof. The teleportation thing opens up again. With it opening up, they were like, "Well, now that can't be right. I mean, it's supposed to be closed. Only one party goes in." And in that moment in my mind, I was like, well, there's a super strong monster in there. And Sally put two and two together as well. She was like, well, one, it either teleported them to another place, or there's a super, and it was just like a loot crate right there, or there's a super strong monster and they were obliterated within the first few seconds they went in. That's exactly what happened. So they decided to take the teleportation, get in there, and they come in contact with this huge bird. Huge. And the first thing that came to my mind is because, like, I'm a typical old school Pokemon fan, and with the ice and everything, the color wasn't there, but with the ice, all I could see was Articuno, like one of the legendary 3 birds. So that's all I could see with him throwing icicles and everything. And they start to fight this monster. And this fight was epic. And this is what I was talking about at the very beginning of my video, with the animation and the quality and just everything. It looked good when they were fighting that bird. And it was just absolutely, we see Sally running around. We see Maple coming in with cover move. We see Sally throwing out moves like it's nobody's business. And this bird is demolishing them. And overall, it was putting in work against Maple. And she ended up using all of her devours, and her outfit, like her gear and her shield, were both obliterated twice. But like I don't want to say it's like, well, maybe like one time, and then it kind of like reformed. No, twice. I want to say twice, and then it kind of reformed. But this thing took Maple down to 1 HP, and she got a new skill that lets her, kind of defeat any kind of monster or whatever, as long as she got like 1 HP and everything. So that's like, well, I have to go back and don't quote me on that. I mean, I kind of got to go back and rewatch it. But there's like, anyway, she got a new skill that it takes place whenever she's at 1 HP. But they defeated the monster. They had a hard time because even Maple was taking like sufficient damage. And no qualms about Sally, because Sally's a cool character. But let's be real, she distracted it for a little bit. But let's be real, Maple was putting in work against this silver. If it's a silver fang, I think it's a silver fang. Maple was putting in work. I don't care what nobody say. Maple went straight ham. She was demolishing this bird with the Devour. She took off one of its legs, and every time it charged at her, and it threw her back and threw her against the ice and shattered her armor and everything, she got right back up, cover move. Come on, man. Maple was going ham, and they defeated it. And when they defeated it, they also found out that they got 2 new pets. Maple got a turtle, which fits her perfectly, and Sally got a fox, which I guess you can kind of works for her too, because she's a swashbuckler, she's a little cunning, and she has like the camouflage and everything. So a fox would be fine for her. Don't get me wrong, Sally helped out in the fight tremendously, but let's be real, Maple is the one that came through hardcore, slamming it and Hydra. How did she say it? Hydra? Anyway, Hydra. And it came through and she was just demolishing it, man. It was epic, and huge shout out to Maple. Then they started naming their pets. Sally named hers Overall, and Maple named hers Syrup. So when together they make Maple Syrup. That was epic, man. But then what I really wanted to touch on was like the little creator people of the game. I'm assuming that's who they are, like the game masters or whatever. They said that they loaded this silver fang bird thing with multiple skills that it should not been able to have been defeated, and its stats were super high. And we saw that when Maple took down just a little bit, not even enough to matter. But they said they loaded this thing down with stats. And who defeated it? I gotta know who defeated it. Maple. Maple defeated it. It's her again. It's like, so like ever since her stuff, they've been keeping a check on her, and I hope they don't like kind of demolish some of her skills again, because they were talking about whatever points and stuff she got from defeating the Silver Fang. We got to keep a check on her and make sure she doesn't kind of combine it in this weird way to give her these super awesome powers. So for some reason they making sure they keep a check on Maple. And then the rest of the episode, we see them, trying to hatch the eggs, and then they hatch them and they give them names and everything. And then they start walking in the desert, and they get to this place, and they were talking about maybe possibly a mirage, but it was a real place. Then they come in contact with this girl who came in sixth place. I can't talk today for some reason. Sixth place in the last event, and for some reason she wants to try to attack Maple and steal her gold coin for coming in third. But let's be real, chick. This ain't what you want. Not with Sally not with Sally there. See, Maple, she'll be, oh no, stop, no. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I love Maple, and Maple's a cool character, and like, now she has to defend herself, she will. But she'll be like, well, we don't have to fight or anything. Sally will straight end this chick, if I'm being honest. Sally's looking forward. She's been wanting some PK kills this whole game. Like PvP. She's been wanting to kill some players this whole game, so she's super hyped. So don't cross her, chick. Do not cross Sally. But yeah, man, that's everything that happened in this episode. Like I said, I really enjoyed it, and I'm finding myself loving this series, man. If you're not watching BOFURI, well, you're watching my video, but I'm saying, tell everybody that's not watching BOFURI to watch BOFURI, because it's just that epic, man. This is your boy Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button till you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them. And subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. And remember that anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life, man. Peace out.